Broadcasting from the Prairie Sportsman Studios, this is Sporting Journal Radio. Heard in Minnesota, the Dakotas, Wisconsin, and online at sportingjournalradio.com. This is Sporting Journal Radio, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. Now here's your host, Bret Amundson.
All right, everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Bret Amundson. Thank you for tuning in on the network by demand, sportingjournalradio.com, by subscribing to the podcast, or by watching right here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're watching this show right now. Thank you for doing so. If you are following us there or watching this there, make sure to like us, follow us, subscribe to us, what do they say? Smash that subscribe button, I think is what all the cool kids say. And also the notification bell if you're watching us on YouTube. That way you get notifications when we have a new show available, such as this one right here. And we got a lot of stuff to get to this week. We're going to talk about a potential new law coming to North Dakota about electronic posting. So posted land in North Dakota has been an issue for a long time. A lot of hunters, and myself included, have taken advantage of the fact that you can go to North Dakota, and if certain land isn't posted, you can hunt it. This is great for waterfowl hunters. Pheasant hunters have taken advantage of this. But usually when it comes to waterfowl, a lot of landowners are like, go shoot all of them, so they don't even worry about it. That's changing. That sentiment's changing a little bit. I don't know how widespread that sentiment is among landowners. I'm going to ask Doug Lear about that with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. But in any case, this is happening. It sounds like land is going to get posted up, but it's going to be kind of unique. It's going to be an electronic version. So we're going to find out what that's all about coming up here with Doug Lear from the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Erik Osberg is back from Otter Tail Lakes Country. There are some new things coming to the Governor's Fishing Opener in Otter Tail County this year. When it comes to learning a little bit more about the county, how is that going to work? They've got some new things, and we're going to find out how you can learn a little bit more about that as well with Erik coming up. And Joe Henry will give us a Walleye Opener preview up at Lake of the Woods and the Rainy River in the Northwest Angle, of course, as well. This week's show is brought to you by Lake of the Woods Tourism. Plan a trip to Lake of the Woods at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. By Haybale Heights Campground Resort on Devil's Lake. Go to haybaleheights.com if you want to plan a trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. By Otter Tail Lakes Country. Go to ottertaillakescountry.com. And, of course, by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. All right, Dan Amundson is going to join us here on the show. Dan, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. You posted something. It took me a minute to figure out what was going on there. And then I realized you were making fun of turkeys in TV commercials. You went turkey hunting the other day. You've been kind of out there all season so far, turkey hunting. How's that been going?
Mm-hmm. It's turkeys are being turkeys right now. They're trying to do what they want to do in the spring and make babies. And funny how they don't really want to do that with plastic when they have a live hen in front of them. So it's been tough. They've been pretty vocal on the roost. And then as soon as they fly down, they kind of get tight-lipped. And it's tough after that. You're not going to hear them. They get henned up real fast. And we've been seeing them be henned up all day. In the past, they will hopefully leave their hens and come wandering by looking for a lone hen later in the day, but that's just not happening. They're staying grouped up. And that's just due to the time of year, the weather. In fact, we're in northern Minnesota up here, so we're a little bit behind. Then things might be different down in southern Minnesota or maybe in your neck of the woods. But up here, it's chilly. Today's the warmest day we've had. It was at the high 65 today. Otherwise, it's been in the 20s every morning we've hunted. And so if the conditions just haven't been in our favor, but as the weather warms up, it's only going to get better. And I have a lot of time. I'm using my bow. So sea season is now underway, but still a lot of time left, still a whole month. It's only going to get better. And it's exciting for me.
You said turkey number 1 or something is on your hit list?
Well, yeah. So number 1, that was kind of the name I gave the turkey right by my house. There's only one gobbler over there, and I'm kind of giving up on him. He's a tricky one. He'll do that same thing, fly down, shut up, but he keeps going the wrong way. I'm on a piece of private land or public land that butts up to private, and he stays on that private. It's like he knows right where that line is. He finds his hens and struts around out there. So I'm kind of moving on from him and trying to find more birds changing the game plan up, and that Shantix turkey might be up next.
Shantix. I was like, I saw you post something about I'm like, why is Dan posting about Shantix? And then I see that there's a turkey in the commercial. I haven't seen that commercial before, so I didn't know at first what you were talking about, but I got it now.
I'm sure most people didn't either. Probably funny just to me, but
so I haven't.
Most jokes.
Yeah, same. I haven't been turkey hunting yet, but this is what I did the other day, Dan. Did you know you can go whitewater rafting in Minnesota?
I did, but I forget about it. Everyone thinks of going out west to do it, but it's right here in our backyard. It's pretty cool.
If you ask anyone from outside of Minnesota to describe the state, they'll probably tell you two things. One, it's cold. And two, it's got a lot of lakes. While that is fairly accurate, the state actually features a diverse set of landscape features that create an array of outdoor recreational opportunities, some of which are widely known and some that may not be. Minnesota has a lot of water, and while fishing generally gets the spotlight when it comes to outdoor recreation, if you want to try something a little bit different, you don't have to travel far to find it. All right, so that's all I'm going to show you right now, but you can see an episode of Prairie Sportsman coming up on not this weekend, but the following weekend. So whatever that date would be, Dan.
Yeah, May something.
So May 2nd, May 9th is when you can see that episode on Pioneer PBS. This past weekend, I don't know if you caught the Flathead catfish episode, Dan.
I've seen parts of it, but I didn't get to watch the whole thing.
Well, here's a little sneak peek for you. Pretty cool. While Minnesota is home to some trophy caliber muskie, pike, and walleye, there are even bigger fish that roam these waters, and their popularity is growing. Two fish come to mind when I think of giants in the state that don't get the respect they deserve, with one being the sturgeon, and the other a catfish. There are three primary species of catfish in the U.S., with two of them residing in Minnesota. The channel catfish is high in numbers. All right, so anyway, there's a little teaser. That is available now at the Prairie Sportsman website. Go to prairiesportsman.org. I'll just tell you, there are some big fish in that episode, including one state record fish that you can watch getting caught in that episode right there. And then, Dan, this weekend on Pioneer PBS, so that would be May 2nd on Pioneer PBS, and then on other PBS stations around the region. Check your local listings. But this was a pretty cool thing that took place up in War Road. Check this out. War Road, Minnesota. It's rumored kids learn to skate before they can walk here. So what happens when schools are closed and sports are canceled? They improvise. The ice is starting to melt and the skates have been put away. But for Hockeytown, USA, the era of lockdowns has created a whole new outdoor tradition. Did you like that? This winter, a path was cleared on the War Road River for kids to skate back and forth between two. All right, so that's about the War Road skate path, the Riverbend skate path up in War Road. That's going to air this weekend. It was a really cool time up there and learning a little bit about the hockey tradition that exists in Hockeytown, USA, up in War Road. That's pretty cool stuff. Dan, we got a brand new show coming to the Sporting Journal radio family. You can learn more about it at NorthAmericanWaterfowl.com or at SportingJournalRadio.com as well, too. It's going to be all about waterfowl. And originally, Dan, I was calling this a podcast because that was my original plan, was to make it kind of a podcast. I own way too many video cameras to do just a podcast. So this is going to be a show that will be available also as a podcast, but it'll be available here on all the digital media video outlets, such as the one that you're watching right now, if you're watching this anyway. But if you go to North American Waterfowl Group on Facebook, Dan, Mika, you're shaking my desk over here. Gosh, she's hungry apparently. We just did a cover photo contest, and the winner was Tommy Semensky. He posted this picture right here, and we selected it as our cover photo. How cool is that? A winter scene, late season mallards, my favorite, on a cabin in the woods. Way cool photo. And he got $50 to spend at the Sporting Journal Radio store, which has got hats, hoodies, mugs, and more. And then there's all kinds of other stuff on there too that you can check out, including new gear for the North American Waterfowl Show that's coming up. Some really cool stuff there. And then Greg Knutson.
Mugs.
Yeah, there's one of your mugs right there. Greg Knutson posted this picture. You can find other stuff in the group too, like this really cool Canada goose. He said it's a Canada goose cross with domestic goose. So he posted that. And then, Dan, maybe you can find that other photo. So then that made me look for a picture of a Canada goose that I took last fall that I desperately tried to hunt and did not. Let's just say it did not come home with me.
Where's that at? Oh boy.
Probably right in there somewhere.
Yep.
Right there. There it is.
This guy.
Yeah. I couldn't get real close to him, so that's about as good as a picture I can get. But I wanted you to be able to see the other geese in the photo so you can see the color differences right there. But
such cool birds.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the nice thing about a guy like Greg Knutson being a biologist, I was able to kind of ask him a little bit about, like, gosh, how much are biologists worried about breeding between domestic geese and wild geese or ducks for that matter? Like how big of a worry is it in the biology world? And I don't know. It's one of those things that's going to happen. How widespread is it? It's hard to say, but I know they try to discourage it as much as possible. So you can follow along with conversations like that in the North American Waterfowl group on Facebook. So go check it out. And then you'll be able to see things like this too. So Corey Loeffler posted on his Instagram, I think the other day, he had just got some new Sitka gloves and he was talking about what he does with those gloves. He customizes them a little bit, including waterproofing. And I got to see it in person during our Sitka trip when we went down to Texas and back. This was at a stop in Kansas at Kansas Hurt Locker where he did this with his Sitka gloves. Check it out.
Not wet. This is all
Really? That you put on them?
Yeah. So you just take this and you just squeeze it like a pimple. And all the fat comes into here, and then like whatever happens inside the body, the fat gets turned into this oil. And you can just massage it out of here.
Oh, dang.
See that? It's like the world's best waterproofer.
He's literally taking the duck oil he's harvesting that oil that ducks use to waterproof their feathers. You'll see ducks, they'll kind of dip their head back and then they'll start preening. They're getting that oil.
Probably a couple hours, and it'll all turn red.
And then spreading it on their feathers.
Into the leather. Just feel it. It's like wax.
Do geese have it too?
Mm-hmm. Honkers have a lot more.
And of all people to be doing that, it's Corey who figured that one out. And man seems to know what to do with every single part of a bird. I mean, I'm sure you probably saw on his Instagram him trying to eat that, I don't even know what you call it, that part of that turkey, that fatty middle chunk in
like
between.
the sponge or whatever. I didn't see him. He did do that. I didn't see that.
He tried it. He was on his Instagram, and I don't think he'll be doing it again.
Oh, he didn't like it. I've heard of people doing that, so I was curious. I wanted to try it myself.
I think he described it as it tastes like turkey with the texture of lutefisk. So I don't know. I don't think I'll try it if I shoot one, but it's something interesting and a cool. It's always cool to try new things and try to maximize your harvest with those birds.
Yeah, well, we're going turkey hunting with Corey here next week, so maybe we'll have to do a video for this show.
Plenty of them up there.
All right. Dan, thank you very much. Coming up, we got Joe Henry giving us a Lake of the Woods fishing report for the Walleye Opener. We're also going to check in with Erik Osberg in Otter Tail Lakes Country as he gets ready for the Governor's Fishing Opener this year. And Doug Lear joins us, our old radio pal from the North Dakota Game and Fish Department, to talk about electronic land posting next.
Now is the time to start thinking about chasing big walleyes on Devil's Lake. Get on the fish at Haybale Heights Campground and Resort. Haybale Heights makes it easy for you to make memories on legendary Devil's Lake with guided fishing and lodging packages. Or bring your own boat and rent one of their cabins on East Bay. Haybale Heights offers a private marina, fish cleaning station, and the opportunity to relax and enjoy your bucket list trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. To book your trip, visit haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com. Broadcasting from the Prairie Sportsman Studios, this is Sporting Journal Radio, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX.
All right, we are back, and it is time once again to talk to our old radio pal, Doug Lear, via the video. Doug, I haven't seen you in years. Thanks to technology, once again, we are reunited in the digital space. Doug, how's it going, man?
Wow, you look old, man. You look really old. What have you been doing? How you been living?
Radio. That's what it is. I'm actually 17 years old, but career in radio. This is how you look at 17.
See, what I've normally done is I say, well, when people ask, well, how old are you? I'm 65. They go, wow, you look good for 65. Yeah, you look really good for 65.
It works.
No, it's good to visit with you. I've always enjoyed your passion for the outdoors. It's I guess if we probably look back, we've probably been associates in some way, shape, or form for probably knocking on 20 years or so.
Yeah, I suppose it is. I think it was 2000 and 2003 when I got hired in the building with you where you were at over there, or where we ended up working together anyway. Something like that. In any case, this weekend for Sporting Journal Radio, this is our 451th show. So whatever.
What's that in dog years?
That's way too much math for me.
Okay.
I'm going to try to figure.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, 451 divided by 52. We'll try that. That's not right.
Yeah, don't carry the 3, man. Carry the 3.
Well, we started
Stay in your lane.
So and we talk about this probably every time you come on this show. And we should mention Dan Amundson is with us too. Hey, Dan.
How's it going?
Good to be with you.
We started this show in September of 2012, but a lot of people don't realize the precursor to this show was a little show that we did on the Fan, and that was like 5 a.m. on Saturday mornings or something like that. The only time we could sneak the show in, and the precursor to that was when I used to do I think afternoons on one of the rock stations, and you used to come in and do some outdoors on the show, right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it was, and that's one of the connections. I mean, we talk about the passion for hunting and fishing, but you carry that across to the farmers and ranchers that love to hunt and fish, that are listening to the radio, that want to know what's going on outdoors. I mean, it's just a crossover, and the bottom line is it's about the outdoors, and that's why we live in the upper Midwest, because whether you're farming and ranching, whether you're talking about hunting and fishing, it's in our DNA.
So a lot of those afternoons, Doug, when we were talking about the outdoors there, and so that would have been in Fargo in, I don't know, 05, 06, 07, 08, somewhere there, 011? Does that make sense? A lot of it dealt with spring flooding and a lot of moisture and a lot of wet conditions. What's it like in North Dakota right now this year?
If you ask 9 out of 10 people in North Dakota, they'd say it's dry. And if you scattered 10 people across to all the different corners, that one person would probably be somewhere down in southeastern North Dakota. And if you wanted to get a better, like a diagonal, if you kind of drew a line like from up in Pembina through Devil's Lake down through Jamestown, everything east of that is going to be okay. Nice map there. You're spot on. Everything west of that is going to be extremely, extremely dry. And that's a huge factor when it comes to spending time outdoors, because oftentimes, as you alluded to, we're talking about rivers that are outside their banks, flooding, dikes, where the farmers and ranchers might be trying to just save their farm, let alone having somebody say, hey, I'd love to go hunt turkeys. And they're just kind of like, what? You want to hunt turkeys out here? And I'm trying to save my farm. And the other side of the floods from turkey hunting would be access for spring fishing. In North Dakota, our fishing season doesn't close. And a lot of times, some of our great fishing takes place in the spring of the year. And many years, the Red River is 10 times the size it is, and you can't even get near it. So we've had some great spring fishing on the Missouri River, up and down the Red River. So it's kind of as everything goes with the outdoors, if you just say a dry spring is bad, that's not necessarily the case for people spending time outdoors. If you say, oh man, a wet spring is just awful, that it's not a blanket. So we deal with what we have, and right now it's extremely dry. So we go through our turkey season, and we're reminding people that you have to be very aware of the fire danger index. And that's extremely, we're starting our paddlefish snagging season this weekend, and you have people traveling all across North Dakota. So we want to make sure that people are aware of that. A lot of things cross over from the climate to the outdoors, as you very well know.
You once described paddlefish snagging to me as standing on the side of 94 and reaching your arm out and trying to grab a semi as it's going by at what's the speed limit in North Dakota? 75 miles an hour. When it's going by at a high rate of speed in any case. And I've never gotten to do it. I know a lot of people are excited to go up there and snag paddlefish.
The state record paddlefish in North Dakota, I believe, is around 130 pounds. Jeez. I mean, so you just put that, it might be like 131 pounds. It was caught in 2016. And the visual that you're explaining is, there you go. I mean, that's what you're talking about. I know some people love to go catch, sunnies, bluegills, and crappies in the springtime. But I mean, when you look at the size of a paddlefish, you can understand why people drive 5 or 6 hours to the confluence of the Missouri and the Yellowstone River out by Williston. And that season runs in North Dakota from May 1st through May 21st. And it's not just a resident season. That's one thing that kind of, sometimes people go, well, we think of bighorn sheep, moose, and elk as being a trophy opportunity, once in a lifetime, residents only. Paddlefish are a huge trophy, but in North Dakota, it's $10 for a resident, $25.50 for a non-resident. And you can head on out from May 1st through May 21st. We do have like 1,000 fish cap on it. And with the low flows, the Missouri and the Yellowstone, that tends to tip the advantage to the snaggers, if there is such a thing as an advantage for when you're trying to drag in a log of 70 to 90 pounds. So it's really kind of cool to have that opportunity when you look at some of the unique outdoor experiences. And like you, I mean, you look at everything that you've done, all the places that you've gone on different continents, chasing different fish and wildlife, and on your bucket list is still the paddlefish.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I still want to do right here at home, whether it be in the Dakotas, Minnesota, whatever. Paddlefish is definitely one of them. So how does that work? You get one paddlefish a season? Is that right? And
right.
And do they does the caviar get processed from that? Does that go to Game and Fish?
Yeah, that's really kind of a cool situation as well, because so the caviar, the eggs from a paddlefish actually are, historically of a quality similar to Russian caviar. I like my eggs scrambled, maybe with some hash browns and some sausage, but yeah. I know there are a lot of people that love caviar, and one of the, kind of unique parts of this is, so you can take your paddlefish to what's called North Star Caviar. They'll clean the paddlefish for you and give you the meat, and then they'll take the eggs, and it goes through how they, we know how you make deer sausage. They know how you make, caviar out of paddlefish eggs, and it's just kind of cool to think of the multiple uses that come out of a paddlefish. But you're spot on. That's kind of one of the interesting aspects of the paddlefish snagging season, Brett.
Let's stay in fishing for 1 second. I really wanted to talk to you about this new electronic posting situation in North Dakota, because that's the big topic right now, I think. But let's just stay on fishing for 1 second. The fishing season is open year-round for fish in North Dakota, walleyes in particular. How is walleye fishing right now? How does that work? Like for guys in Minnesota that are used to it being closed during the spawning season, some people think, gosh, why are the Dakotas open during the spawning season? They should be closed. But you guys don't see nearly as much fishing pressure as we do in Minnesota, so I don't think it really matters. But
right. And we haven't. We changed. We used to have a closed season. I think it opened up like the weekend after Minnesota. And 1993, North Dakota changed to having basically a year-round season. You need a new license April 1st, and it goes through March 31st. And our fisheries biologists and our fisheries managers love to fish. I mean, that's why they're in the job that they are. So yeah, they make their decisions based on the best biology, the best fisheries management that they have. And what we have for natural reproduction, combining like our fishing habitat, our fisheries biology, and then the social aspect of how many anglers we get, the fishing pressure that we have, the the number of fish that come out, their equation still shows that great walleye fishing in the spring on Devil's Lake doesn't hurt the overall walleye population in the long term. Great walleye fishing on the Missouri River south of Bismarck, where we have multiple 15-pound walleye coming out of the Missouri River system, has not been hurt because of anglers going fishing, catching fish, and keeping fish. We understand socially, some people see a fish cleaning station and they go, wow, I mean, that's a lot of big walleyes that are coming out of there. It's concentrated in a small area, in a small time frame. So you see that. Similar to like deer season versus pheasant season. We have more hunting hours take place in pheasant season, but you think deer season is so big because it's crammed into 16 and a half days. That's kind of the way that spring fishing pressure is. It's really condensed. It's in small areas. When you spread that out and look at walleye harvest on Lake Sakakawea, walleye harvest on Devil's Lake, the Missouri River system, the spring harvest, pre-spawn, post-spawn, is not right now. Something might happen, something might change, but right now we want to make sure that we provide the angler opportunity without harming the fishery. And my common question back is, we closed the fishing season back in 1993. Okay, we had a closed season. Is the fishing been better now than then? And it has been. That's because the water came back and we've got strong fisheries, so we can keep that open. And as you can see, state record walleye. The one previous to that was actually my cousin, Neil, who had the previous state record from 2018. So the fishing remains very strong. The fisheries remain very healthy, and we provide the opportunity for the anglers to go out there.
Was that your cousin that had the record before that?
Yeah, it was. It was actually, my dad was out in the boat with them, and I'm just like, you can be a game and fish biologist, and you can always guarantee that you're probably going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Because that was a Friday afternoon, and my phone rings from my dad. He's like, "We caught a big one." And I'm like, "Yeah, figures."
Do we have a picture of that, Dan? Can Dan find a picture of that somewhere?
If you Google Neil and then the last name is just like mine, Leier, state record walleye, that would be the one from 2018.
Gosh, I wonder if we talked about that, because I can't remember if we talked about it. Did we talk about it? Otherwise,
I think we might.
We probably did.
Might have.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I mean, so here we sit early, backside of April or early part of May, and Minnesota's fishing opener is what, the 15th this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's Neil. That's my cousin. Yeah.
Holy. Yeah, that's a good one.
But what we look at, and we don't take anything away from Minnesota with the closed season, but we also look at, especially in a spring like this, where we've had ice out for 8 weeks, look at how many people, if you want to look at it from a fishing resort or from a motel or a guide, look at how many fishing hours have been available because we had an open season for a month. Minnesota's going to blow up on May 15th, May 14th, that night. There's going to be people all over the place. I wonder if we look at it from providing that opportunity versus having the circus of what the Minnesota fishing openers, I'm not going to say either one's wrong, really. I mean, if you're not harming the fishery, I'm not going to take any offense to what Minnesota does.
I've had a lot of discussions with biologists about that, and there's differing opinions on the impacts of the fishery, but the governor's fishing openers become such a tradition and such an event in Minnesota that I don't think it'll ever change. I mean, you're seeing some of the changes on our border waters. Our South Dakota border waters opened up year round now. Mississippi River border with Wisconsin, the regulations in Minnesota were changed to everything was pretty much changed to try to match what the neighboring state or province is and what their regulations are. So there's been some changes, but as far as inland waters in Minnesota, I think there's too much of a societal tradition with the opener now that I don't think that'll ever change. But there's a lot of fishing opportunities, and obviously in the spring there's plenty of other things to do, like snow goose hunt, turkey hunt, things like that, which I did get to North Dakota to snow goose hunt this year, Doug. We were texting, we were talking. That's right.
Right. Yeah. It actually, so it would have been just last Tuesday, if I want to put the date on it, that would have put it at April 20th. April 20th, I was down in Lemoore County, and there was still huntable numbers of snow geese around, which kind of surprised me with how early this spring was. But again, it stands to reason that you've got, you always got a few Johnny-come-latelys that are going to bring up the backside.
Well, I'll tell you what, we always talk about and stress how fast those adults move through. And with the mild winter weather we had this spring, I thought for sure when we went to North Dakota, I'm trying to remember when that was now, it's a few weeks ago.
I think it was like around the week of like April 13th, 16th, like that Tuesday through Friday, maybe.
It could be. We had pretty nice weather, and I'd heard reports of birds up into Saskatchewan already. So I was like, oh, this will be good. We'll be getting into some of the younger birds. And we ended up, we did have some juvies around us, but we had big wads of adults still that we were just watching them lunch line us and do adult things. We shot some adults, but it was definitely way more older birds than we were expecting. So there's something to that the nice weather, and there's still something to that calendar. And then I think there was still some frozen water north of us, which is always an issue too. But it was, that
was a big education for myself as a biologist, because I thought that along the same lines is a lot of times what we're dealing with is that snow line holding birds back, whether it's a snow line at Devil's Lake or a snow line at Jamestown. And this year we didn't have that. So a lot of us were thinking the same thing as you, Brett, that, those birds are going to beeline to Canada. And then it was kind of like, well, hold the phone. There's still a lot of frozen big water, and they were held back by the frozen water. So, that's the beauty of it. We get taught stuff every single day. It's kind of fun, hunters and biologists.
They're wild animals. You can try to predict them as much as you want, but they're still wild animals, and they're going to do what they want to do. One of the things I love about hunting North Dakota for waterfowl is the ability to go out and scout. And when you scout waterfowl, you know how it is, Doug. You're putting so many miles on driving countrysides and gravel roads and looking for huntable numbers of birds and huntable feeds. And one of the issues you run into a lot of times is if they're on posted land and you can't get a hold of the landowner, then you got to keep on driving and look for something else. Well, the nice thing about North Dakota is you haven't always had to do that, because unposted land has been historically open to hunters. That sounds like it's changing, Doug, or could be changing.
Right. Actually, on Thursday, Governor Burgum did sign into law what was North Dakota Senate Bill 2144, establishing electronic posting. It'll go into effect on August 1st of this year. So the scenario that you lay out is going to change. Huh. But I have to qualify this just a little bit, and I appreciate always being able to have a conversation with people that do hunt and understand the situation. With game and fish, like, our job is we need to provide hunting and fishing opportunities. We don't want to shrink those opportunities and make it harder for people to hunt. So understanding with the new electronic posting, where that scenario that you laid out is going to change, where you'll need to check on your phone app and see, is that bean field electronically posted? Is that cornfield electronically posted? And if it is, it'll have the landowner's name on there, and it won't be required to have contact information. They would be able to provide contact information. And as we know with computers and apps, everything is possible, It's just not everything is practical. Like, you know, you and I could sit here and say, well, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? The practicality of it is where you kind of start running into the brick walls. The other side of that is,
can I ask you something about that real quick?
Yep, go ahead.
Because I just want to, for myself included, but for our listeners, I just want to break down how this is going to work. So the land so say you're driving around, you find a field with geese in it. Like, okay, I want to hunt this. What's the next step? There's not going to be physical signs up. They have to check an app to see if it's if it's electronically posted.
Right. It could still be. Landowners will still have the option of physically posting their land. It's not going to be just one that it has to be electronically posted. And I've heard from some landowners that will just say they're not computer savvy and they've got a few quarters of land. They only post one of the quarters that they like to pheasant hunt on and deer hunt on. So they'll go out and put up a couple of signs and it'll be taken care of. There are some of those other landowners that might have 10,000 acres and they'll be able to electronically post their land. So that's part of it. I ask me again so I don't miss
Sure.
the specifics.
Well, so if you pull up to a field, let's say there's no signs. So you see a field full of geese and there's no signs there.
Right.
You
check the app.
Okay. And that's an app from ND Game and Fish?
Right. Yep.
So
you check the app.
And then it'll tell you if it's, will it say it's not posted? Will it say one definitive thing or the other on there?
Yep. It'll either be posted or not posted.
Okay. And
if it's not electronically posted and there's no physical signs out there, it'll be just like the good old days.
Okay. So but it will say something, like it will have that plot of land on there no matter what. It'll say this is not posted, or will it just not be listed on there? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it'll be similar to like a plots guide.
Okay.
If that visual kind of click, you're nodding your head.
Yeah.
Here's the scenario that I want to put out there is let's say you pull up on a field that has geese on it and it is posted. Okay?
Electronically.
Then you'll be able to look electronically posted. You'll be able to look on there and see the name on there versus there are times where it might just say no trespassing, you know, an old tire that's out there and you just go, aw shucks. I mean, so I'm not going to try to blow smoke up your kilt and say this is going to be, you know, better for freelance hunting as you kind of assume with that. But the alternative is an overall no trespass law, which has been in the legislature almost every year for the last 20 years.
Yeah. So if something does have some signs, could it potentially still be available through the electronic app? Could you see something that's got posted signs? Would they maybe put something in the electronic app and say it's posted, but here's my contact information, give me a call?
Well, and that's one of the things, again, you know, this law takes effect on August 1st, and you know, there's going to be a lot more education and information as we go forward. But one of the primary requests is, would people be able to post it and say, open for coyotes and Canada geese and ducks, posted for pheasants and deer? Again, what we can tell you is with an app, everything is possible. Is it going to be practical? Hard to say right at this point. I think that the main thing, you know, especially for your listeners and your viewers, is that the bill did pass. It was signed by the governor, and electronic posting in North Dakota will take effect on August 1st. So going into the early Canada goose season of August and into the fall of next year.
Do you know if there's been talk of integration with OnX at all?
Talk, I'm sure. You know, again, because when it comes to apps and overlays and that, I'm not going to try to say that it won't happen or that it will happen. But again, there's a lot of smart IT people that are going to be able to say, yeah, we can, cross this over, we can overlay this. But at this point in time, I don't know exactly how it'll look coming up this fall.
All right. Well, I'm hoping to get back over there to North Dakota any chance I get. I miss that state, of course, quite a bit. So I appreciate you giving us an update on the west side of the Red River. Hope things are going well for you there, Doug. And all this stuff can probably be found on the Game and Fish website too, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and again, when it comes to, like the electronic posting, we'll be, putting as much information as we can as we know it rolling out. And the one thing I have to say is, like, I've always enjoyed visiting with you and having some of these conversations. I enjoy listening to you, and I can honestly say, Saturday mornings I listen on a radio station out of Jamestown at 6:00. I'll give a shout out to KSJB.
Heck yeah.
And I about spit my coffee on my keyboard when I've never heard of anybody talking about a hunt getting interrupted by a helicopter. So I have to say that was a new one for me as well, T-Bone.
Yeah, that was with Sam Soholt, and Corey Loeffler. They were down in Texas hunting pigs, and somebody had rolled through right before they got there with a helicopter and did a little heli hogging down there. Texas, man. Wild West.
Yeah.
All right. Doug Lear, North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Appreciate the time today here on the show.
Always enjoy it. Take care.
Did you know there are more than 1,000 lakes in Otter Tail County?
Yep, and I'm going to fish as many as I can. I'm an outdoorsy otter. Nothing beats a full day of fishing for me. The lakes of Otter Tail County give me plenty of options to lower my boat and snag the perfect catch. Not an outdoorsy otter? No problem. Otter Tail County has something for everyone. You just need to find your inner otter. Go to this site right here.
To find your inner otter, go to OtterTailLakesCountry.com.
Broadcasting from the Prairie Sportsman Studios, this is Sporting Journal Radio, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX.
We're getting ready for the fishing opener, and the Governor's Fishing Opener is a big event. It happens every year, normally. Didn't happen last year, but it's back this year, and Erik Osberg from Otter Tail Lakes Country is here to join us. Oh, Dan's here too. Hey, Dan. Hi. Bye, Dan.
How's it going?
Erik is joining us here to talk about the Governor's Fishing Opener. Once again, we had you on last week to talk about it too, and there were some things we didn't talk about that I want to touch on, and one is just... most people, I think, have an idea of what the Governor's Fishing Opener is all about. But for those that don't, I want to explain it. And then for everybody, I want to talk about how it's going to be a little bit different this year because, Erik, as we talked about, normally it's at a location. There's a resort or some sort of event center that usually this is hosted at. There's a big, meal and a presentation. And then there's maybe one particular lake. Sometimes it's an area, but a lot of times it's like, one particular lake that everybody's going to be fishing on. Well, when it comes to Otter Tail County, there's 4,000 to 5,000 lakes. There's over 1,000 lakes in Otter Tail County. So the idea, and especially in this COVID era, is to spread people out across the county. Here, Dan's got a shot of the county a little bit for you. Yeah,
look how many boat ramps.
Yeah, I think there's 150-ish boat ramps. I mean, once you get by Otter Tail Lake, right there's Otter Tail Lake. But so between Otter Tail Dead and Star in the center of the screen right there, there's 25,000 acres of water just between those three lakes.
Jeez. And
so yeah, but you're exactly right, Brett. What we're trying to do, and it's from day one, even pre-COVID, one of our missions for this event was to highlight the numerous lakes in Otter Tail County. And we have 1,048. That's the official number we use anyways. But there's 1,048 lakes. There's tons of boat accesses. There's fishing piers. There's rivers. There's streams. And so I as we were deciding, should we or shouldn't we host this in 2021, given the COVID era, we thought there's probably not a better place in the state equipped to do this, right? Like just logistically speaking, we're pretty set up to spread out. And so, yeah, we're not trying to concentrate all the events or things in one area. I think we've got 30, I think the list is up to 30 different resorts right now where we have people staying. So some, Thumper Pond Resort is going to act kind of as the headquarters, right? There's going to be, that's where Media Row is going to be, and that's where a lot of the media will be staying. But we have 29 other resorts where we're going to be able to put heads in beds, and that's the ultimate goal too, right? Let's put heads in beds. Let's inject some cash into the economy, into the local hospitality industry. So we're going to put heads in beds, 30 different resorts. We've got, and again, to your point about the meals, right? Well, we're giving all of our guests a $15 coupon, and they can take it to these 24 different restaurants. And they can, and there's even some breweries on the list. So I don't know if somebody wants to go get a pint, but again,
sure,
we're sure, right? So you could get a pint and a pizza, right? And so again, we're hoping our guests use these coupons. We're picking up the tab, right? And it injects some cash, right? And opening weekend is busy anyways, but we're hoping that we can start the 2021 hospitality season with a bang. That's the goal for our local economy and our local businesses.
Usually there's also some ways to go check out some of the local landmarks and features and highlights. And I know we talked about this a little bit last week too, but you didn't tell me that you're going to have tour books.
We call it a Otter. We call it a Find Your Inner Otter self-guided tour book. And that's a mouthful. So Otter Tail Adventures, right? So as you, Brett, as a member of the media, one of the invitees, you're going to get a guidebook, and it's going to say, and we have different otter types. You might be an outdoorsy otter. You get to self-identify as an outdoorsy otter, as an eclectic otter, as a otter about town, or an active otter, or an easygoing otter. Whatever your otter type is, we've put down 4 or 5 things on a map. Here's what you should go do. So I'm gonna run off of the assumption that you're an outdoorsy otter. As a member of the media, you could go tour the Lund Boat Factory, right? So from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., you can go tour the Lund Boat Factory.
Should I bring my truck then, is what you're saying?
You might have a new boat by then. You bought a lottery ticket or a raffle ticket, so you might have a raffle ticket, so you might have a new boat by then. But Glendalough State Park, you could go to Glendalough State Park, and we have bikes, we have kayaks, we have canoes, and there's some heritage fit. So if you want to hike, bike, paddle, or fish, you can do that at Glendalough State Park. If you're an active otter, if you want to go golfing, here's some golf courses you can go to. Here's some trails you can hike. Here's some other things you can do. So anyway, so we tried to create a fun little game where our guests can use this guidebook to go find their inner otter and spread out and do it in a safe manner.
The opener is coming up here pretty quick. So May 14, 15, 16 kind of is that weekend. You're also going to be doing, we should talk about those raffle tickets again real quick, because you're going to be selling those through May 8th, right?
Yes, sir. The boat will be the Lund Boats, stepped up huge thanks to Lund Boats. They donated an 1875 Impact XS with 150 horsepower Mercury. And that's a pert near $50,000 boat. And we're raffling it off. The raffle tickets are just $20. And only 5,000 of them are being sold. They're not sold out yet, so there's plenty of tickets available, and we're going to raffle that off on May 8th. And if somebody wants to buy one, they can just go to ottertaillakescountry.com. There's a little bar that says "Learn more about the Lund Boat." You can buy them over the phone with a debit card if you're not in the area. So,
is there now who's putting that raffle on? I guess is the question.
So Otter Tail Lakes Country Association is the fiduciary has fiduciary responsibility. So Otter Tail Lakes Country Association is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to promoting Otter Tail County as a place to visit, live, and work.
Cool.
And again, because we're picking up the tab for some of our, not all of our guests, but many of our guests, we're picking up the tab for them. And so if you go a little further down, there should be, or is it? Oh, right. There it is right there. Tell me more. Don't miss your chance. So, paying for all these rooms and buying all these meals is going to cost a little bit. So Lund was kind enough to step up. The other thing that Lund is going to do is they're going to have a couple of boats on hand. We're anticipating the governor and lieutenant governor will be here, and traditionally they've always fished with a selected host. And so Lund Boats is also providing the boats that the governor and lieutenant governor would fish out of. So, Lund Boats makes a lot of sense to obviously for a number of reasons, right? Like they're synonymous with fishing in Minnesota. They've been around forever, and they're synonymous with Otter Tail County. They're built in New York mills. But they have jobs. Like there's jobs available right now. And that's not unique to, we're not the only part of the world that has jobs available right now, but Lund Boats. So manufacturing has changed in the last few years. And if anybody's looking for a career, a great place to live and fish, I would highly recommend they at least consider Otter Tail County, and Lund Boats is a great place to start. Man,
I wish I owned some sort of fishing product company in the last year. Holy smokes. You talk about a booming economy for somebody. The outdoor space did pretty well, I think.
Yeah, the outdoor space did really well. And that's another reason, back to the, why are we celebrating this opener? I think a lot of people were either reintroduced to the outdoors or introduced to the outdoors in the last 13 months, right? Sure. Like, Bobby and Susie's soccer game or T-ball game or Little League game didn't happen last summer in a lot of cases. And so what do? Well, let's go fishing or hiking or paddling or biking or whatever it is. So again, just another good reason for us to celebrate not only the opener, but just the therapeuticness of being outside. So
I'm trying to find a picture. Dan, do you have a picture of the tricked out lunge somewhere? I'm trying to find
I can find one.
Yeah, find a picture of my boat for me. I've been trying to look it up because I want to talk about how I plan on bringing my boat up there, and I'm bringing a Lund up, but I guarantee you, Eric, nobody's going to have a Lund like me at the governor's fishing opener in Otter Tail County this year.
So you're bringing your own boat, one way or the other?
That was the plan. Yeah, I was planning on throwing it on the
Dan,
trailer.
if you go to mngovernorsopener.com, there might be a big picture of the boat.
Of my boat?
Let's see here.
It depends on which boat. Not your. Oh, you're talking about your boat, your current boat.
My current boat. Thought you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me. Now I'm interested. Now I want to see the picture of your current Lund boat.
Let's find this thing, gosh.
Yeah.
I got way too many pictures.
Same.
Here we go.
You found one?
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Boom.
Oh, yeah, here we go. There it is.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Can you see it? It's in the middle of the picture there.
I love it. Yeah, for sure. That's your Lund boat?
That's mine, yeah. It was my dad's, and I bought it from him. And
I love it.
And I gave it my custom paint job.
You did that yourself?
Yeah. I don't know if I should take credit for it or not, but yeah, that's
for sure you should. For sure you should.
My paint job.
I love it.
So
if it's windy, you might want to find a smaller lake. But but that's the good news is we have those.
Well, I was going to tell you that, like, if you I don't know how the boat hosts, I know usually you pair us up with boat hosts up there. I don't know how that's going with all the other changes this year, but if you just want to send me to one of the smaller lakes off the beaten path and a small resort, I'll just bring my own boat up there. I don't need a host, all that stuff. Feel free to do that, because I love exploring and seeing some new lakes. And I fished Otter Tail before, and obviously that'd be fun. But I don't need to go there. You can put some of your other media guys there, and you can put me on. We'll call it Lake X in Otter Tail County.
Yep.
I won't have to give away the exact lake location, so you can give me your hot spots, and I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that? Yeah, we can point you in the right direction. Cool. It's I was talking to another boat host the other day, and one of the, and again, I don't want to oversell it, but I've been on fishing trips to other locations, and if there's a big strong wind, or you know what I mean, like some days you can't go out, or if you do go out, it's pretty darn hard. Mm-hmm. What we've done is, we vacation. My uncles come up and we stay at Holly's Resort on Otter Tail Lake every June. And last year there was a 3-day wind, and I just leave my boat on the trailer, right? When you're done with the day, if it's windy, then now I'm going to this lake, or if it's a south wind, I'm going to this lake, or if it's an east, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you kind of have a lake for each type of wind. Yeah. You have options. And obviously you have to be cognizant of AIS and aquatic invasive species, and make sure that you're not going from an infested water to an uninfested water in a certain time frame. But if you do, if you just do your uninfested ones first, type of deal. But yeah, there's all sorts of options. So I'm glad to hear you're bringing a boat. We'll get you. We'll get you in the right spot.
You can put me on one of those secret lakes, and nobody's gonna see me because the boat's camouflaged, Derek.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. You can just follow Randon. You can follow Randon Olson around. He'll be out there. So I'll
just bring a rope and tie right on. You can just tow me around. I'll just fish.
I don't think you can keep up with him.
No.
Well, he'll get the spot warmed up for you, and then you can slide right in there and pitch right next to him and catch that good fish.
I like it. All right, Eric. Well, we're getting closer. The event's almost here. For people that want to find out more about Otter Tail Lakes Country and the Governor's Fishing Opener, what should they do?
They can go to ottertaillakescountry.com to find their inner otter, or if they're looking for more information about the opener, it's mngovernorsopener.com.
All right, Eric, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll see you soon, buddy.
Hey, anglers, looking for a destination where walleyes, fresh air, and fish fries are a way of life? Look no further than the famous waters of Lake of the Woods. From Badette and the Rainy River to the main lake up to the northwest angle. Here, you'll enjoy the best walleye catch rate in the state. Maybe you'll pursue world-class sturgeon, pike, or muskies. Plus, you'll find lots of full-service resorts offering charter boats, delicious meals, and lots of Minnesota nice. Come experience the walleye capital of the world. Come experience Lake of the Woods. Catch the details at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. Broadcasting from the Prairie Sportsman Studios, this is Sporting Journal Radio, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. Now it's time to talk Lake of the Woods with Joe Henry from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Once again, Joe, we are getting closer and closer to the opener. I'm not ready for it yet.
I don't know, man. We had pretty good spring fishing on the Rainy River. Spring fishing was so freaking good that I think a lot of people up at Lake of the Woods, or that go to Lake of the Woods, are pretty excited about the opener. I mean, things are looking up.
I want to talk about walleyes, of course, and what people, like maybe what techniques people should try on the opener. But I want to touch on sturgeon for just 1 second, Joe. And I know we talked about this last week a little bit, and maybe I'm just paying more attention to it. But man, am I seeing a ton of big fish coming out of the river. I'm seeing more and more anglers targeting them. I'm seeing more people on social media talking about increased pressure. And Darren Troseth, I was actually talking to Darren a little bit, and he was saying that he was making some comments about the growth of the fish and how we're seeing so many 60-inch fish that in another 10 to 15 years, it could be all, numbers of 70-inch fish that we're seeing all over the place. What do you think about the growth rate and the population of sturgeon in the Rainy River right now?
I think you better start lifting weights.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but that's
You know
that's
what?
for all kinds of reasons.
No, no, I'll tell you, it has been so good. And, we know they're there. I mean, the DNR does a phenomenal job, DNR Fisheries, of managing these fish. They keep track of them, they tag them. They're doing nettings, every spring. And I've been in the boat when they've done the test nettings, and it's just incredible. They get these huge fish up there and they put them in great big tanks, and they tag them and they record it. And you've seen information probably online about tagging sturgeon, and how it's so cool because you can get that tag and find out as much information as they have about that sturgeon. When was it tagged? Was it ever caught before? There's one sturgeon. I mean, there's some sturgeon that are caught just once. There's some that are caught twice. There's one that was caught more than 10 times. Kind of a famous sturgeon. But no, I mean, Brett, the population of sturgeon is super strong. The fish are getting bigger every year. Sturgeon fishing is fun. It's relaxing. You're anchoring up and you're just anchored up and you're flipping out a glob of worms and or frozen shiners with a no roll sinker, 18-inch lead called a sturgeon rig, and you're flipping that out usually in a hole of a river, and you're anchored up and just nice and relaxed. The other thing is I see more and more people starting to fish those fish a little bit shallower. So the holes are a go-to spot, no doubt. But some of those places where the water comes up and gets a little shallower and it's pushing bait over the top, they're starting to fish those fish shallower. And so there's some good techniques going on. People that are good with side scan on their electronics, they can go through those big holes. And those fish are so big, they can see if there's sturgeon in those holes. I mean, the whole thing is just really neat. Most people are doing catch and release, but right now there is a keep season. And, if you wanted to keep a sturgeon, they are very, very good smoked, very rich, very good. And I had one time, and, you get a sturgeon permit for $5. It's almost like a deer tag, sturgeon tag. And, right now the harvest or keep season's on. And if you catch a sturgeon 45 to 50 inches or over 75 inches, that's the one fish that you are allowed to tag and keep each calendar year. So it really is kind of neat. Some people are going to catch them like that. Some are just going for fun of it, And the big thing I encourage is if you plan on releasing a sturgeon, have everything ready to roll, man. Have your net and your pliers and your camera and your measuring tape or your big huge bump board. It better be a big one. And I also say bring a measuring tape with you. And here's why: is that the Minnesota DNR now has a catch and release record for sturgeon, for pike, for muskies, and for channel cats. Now we don't have channel cats, but the other three species we do have. We had the record for sturgeon. I think the St. Croix River got it back. And we do have the record for pike right now, the catch and release record for pike caught on the Rainy River. And we're going after the muskie. But you got to have that tape with you. And you got to just kind of have an understanding. You want to get a picture of the length with a tape. You want to get a picture of the girth with a tape. Of course, you got to have a witness with some pictures. And, you do that and you turn that into the DNR and you get a pretty good chance at a catch and release record.
Walleye Opener is not far away. How many fish do you think will still be in the river when that opener comes around here? May 15th?
Is you got some anglers that are fishing the Rainy River jigging. You got some that are fishing 4 Mile Bay. And then, of course, you have a number of anglers that are out in front of the whole south shoreline fishing walleyes. A lot of people fish out in front of that Rainy River, which is so good this time of year. But man, that whole shoreline, you got the Morris Point Gap, you got Zipple Bay, you got Long Point, Rocky Point down by Arneson's there. And then, of course, don't forget the Northwest Angle. The Northwest Angle is one of those areas that the fish up there they're loaded, and they're gonna be on shoreline structure, underwater points, Flag Island flats, whatever. Give you a little tip, and I hope nobody gets mad at me, because I just marked up a map for Midwest Outdoors magazine for June of the Northwest Angle. 12 good spots. And I gave some pretty good ones away. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me.
That's the number one rule in fishing, Joe. Don't give away your spots.
Well, either that or lie.
Well, there's that. So when it comes to the angle and the opener, are there going to be some shuttle services that people can take up to the angle?
Yeah, it's a great question. Absolutely, there is. The Lake of the Woods passenger service is a shuttle. It's a charter boat shuttle service. It goes back and forth, leaves out of Sportsman's Lodge on the south end on the Rainy River there, and it shoots up to whatever resort you want to stay at up at the northwest angle. It's a very, very good way to get up there. They got some really good charter boats. They got some quick charter boats. They just set them up really nice. This is the second year they're doing that now. And you know what? You also have Lake Country Air. And Lake Country Air is a flying service that is going to be going from the south end of Lake of the Woods and flying across the lake up to the angle. It takes like 10 minutes. And very convenient way to get up there in a hurry. They can land on the water up there, of course, with floats. And again, they can take you to any resort you want to go to. So with the border being closed, there are a couple of really good options of going up to the angle. And man, you get up there, it's special. I mean, it is just, that's where the 14,552 islands begin. You're fishing more of the Canadian type wilderness area, and you got more rock, you got more structure, and the walleye fishing up there is phenomenal.
So if you were headed up to Lake of the Woods on May 14th to fish on the opener May 15th, would you start in the river, or would you go out into the main part of the lake, or where would you start, Joe?
It depends on where I'm staying. If I'm staying up at the angle, I'd start up at the angle. If I'm staying over at Arneson's, I'd start out in front of Rocky Point and fish that shoreline structure. If I'm staying Long Point, same thing. The fish are going to be adjacent to shorelines. They're going to be pretty close to shore. You're not going to have to go far to catch them. If you're staying in that Rainy River area in Wheeler's Point, you know what? I think I would probably start. I mean, honestly, I'd play the wind. If it's real windy, I would start in the river in 4 Mile Bay. If it's not windy, I'd probably go start out in front of the Gap, out in front of Pine Island there. And then you could say the same thing from that whole shoreline down, all the way down to Long Point and around the corner. There's going to be schools of fish along that whole shoreline. I'll tell you what I would do, though. I would anchor up and jig. I would be jigging with frozen emerald shiners. I'd be putting on a gold or a glow white or a pink or an orange jig, or ideally a combination of those colors. And I'd be hooking that frozen shiner. I'd hook that baby through the mouth, out the gill. I'd push that minnow all the way up, and I'd hook it far back on that minnow as I possibly could. Keeps the minnow on there better, and then also you get more positive hook sets, because you're going to hook that fish when they grab only half the minnow. And I would get out to that, probably 20 to 25 feet of water. I'd anchor up and I'd look for fish with my electronics. Certainly keep an eye on what other boats are doing, and go from there. You're gonna run into some fish. This is that time of year that those fish are grouped up, and there's some good fishing that's going to be happening on the opener. There always is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, if people want to find a resort, figure out what part of Lake of the Woods they want to get to, where should they go for more info, Joe?
You know what? Hey, our Facebook page is awesome, and that's Lake of the Woods Tourism on Facebook. Otherwise, check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Hunt, fish, conserve, repeat. That's the mission here at Sporting Journal Radio, and if you love the outdoors as much as we do, show it off with new wildlife-themed gear from the Sporting Journal Radio store. From hoodies to hats, coffee mugs, wildlife prints, and you can even make your phone stand out with a new case sporting some high-quality wildlife photography. Go to sportingjournalradio.com and click on Store. We have a huge selection of gear with new items being added every week. Powered by Shopify, which is trusted by over 1 million businesses and offering a variety of ways to pay, including PayPal. Shop now at sportingjournalradio.com.